Assalamu alaikum dear students and welcome back. This is our third lecture together and we are doing the course of communication and presentation skills. The topic of today's lecture is communication contexts. In the previous lecture we talked about the communication processes, and in this video we are going to learn about the communication context. Now context is basically a situation, a scenario, a particular surrounding, a particular situation in which you are communicating. So you should be knowing about the contexts of communication as well. So this is a brief overview of the contents of this lecture. First of all, we'll talk about the contexts of communication, the idea of the context of communication. Then we'll have a detailed discussion about the communication contexts, and this is how we are going to conclude this lecture. So shall we start? Okay. So first of all, let's have a quick overview of the definition of the communication. Communication is basically a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behaviors. So communication is basically a common system. It is a system. It's not something very random. It is a process. In the previous video we talked about this as well. It is a process, and it is a process of establishing a common system of symbols, signs, or behaviors. Now these are the communication contexts. These are the situations, or these are the scenarios where you will be communicating. The first communication context is intrapersonal communication. Intrapersonal communication. Now what kind of communication is this? This is the type of communication that takes place within a human being. Within a human being. Like you are not communicating to the people other than you. You are not talking to somebody else. You are basically trying to communicate with yourself. You are trying to thought process, you are trying to understand things within yourself. So there is always a communication going on between a person and himself. This is something very interesting as well. You must be thinking, okay, how can we communicate with ourselves? So the answer is yes. This is what we most of the time do. Most of the times we are communicating to ourselves when we are alone, when we are traveling, when we are driving a car, when we are sitting in our personal private spaces. We are always thinking, we are always planning, we are always thinking about other people. There is a thought process that is going on. So that is basically intrapersonal. Within a person, a communication is going on. Thoughts about something, or the process of deciding about what to do in the mind, are examples of intrapersonal communication. So this is a context. You see, this is a situation in which you are communicating, and that situation is basically intrapersonal communication. Right now, the second type of context, the second context where the communication can happen is the interpersonal. You must have heard that term international, between the nations. Okay, one nation doing something with the other nation, that is called international, right? So interpersonal means communication between two or more than two individuals. So this is the type of communication that takes place between two or three. By three I mean two or more than two people. So it is usually done face to face, and the face to face communication between two people is also known as dyadic communication. Dyadic communication. Di means two. Dyadic communication. An example is the conversation you have with your friend, your dad, your mother, and so on. Now, interpersonal communication can be between 2 to 3 people. It can be a group. You can say that a group conversation, a group discussion. So that all comes in the interpersonal communication. Now then we have the group communication. This is the type of communication that takes place between 4 to 10 people who are in a small group situation. When the people, they are sitting in a group in a limited space, and they all are communicating with each other. Everybody is participating, and everybody is sharing some thoughts about an agenda, or about a topic, or about some issue that is under discussion or under debate. So that kind of that kind of communication is called group communication. Then we have the idea of mass communication. Mass means a large number of people, a large community. So this is the type of communication that takes place between one or more persons who are communicating with a large and geographically widely dispersed, widely distributed, okay, widely dispersed audience simultaneously, right? Simultaneously, the word simultaneously is important, through the use of technology. Like for example, when you make a video and upload it on the YouTube, so that is mass communication. You go on radio and you broadcast a program, that is mass communication. You sit on the TV and you talk about something, and millions and billions of people, they can watch and they can listen to you, so that is basically mass communication. Examples are the radio, television, and so on. Mass communication can also make use of computer mediated communication through live streaming to aid its reach. Like if you want to communicate to a large number of people, you can use the live streaming. You can approach the people through television, through YouTube, and through the satellite mediums of communication. Then as the word computer mediated communication comes here, so this is basically a separate context as well. Now what is computer mediated? Mediate means where the computer is the medium of communication. So this is the type of communication that takes place with the aid of the computer and other computerized devices. The internet, through websites, emails, social media such as Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp, Telegram, YouTube, and so on, they are the examples of computer mediated communication, where you are communicating your message to larger number of people through the use of computer, through the use of computer technology, through the use of social media that is operated through the gadgets or through the computer based instruments and machines. So this is the computer mediated communication, right? And these are the basic contexts in which different people, they communicate their messages, they convey their messages, and they have a certain type of communications. This was it for today. In next lecture we will be exploring some other topics of communication, and if you have not watched the previous lectures, in the description of this video you will find a link, and through that link you can access the previous lectures and the upcoming lectures as well. So do not forget to watch the previous videos. Stay connected for the next video. See you in the class. And if you have any questions, you can ask the questions in the comment box, or you can ask the questions in the class as well. Take care of yourself. See you in the next class. Khuda Hafiz.